Hey Tarot team, welcome back to Cody Tarot. On today's Tarot adventure, wow, I can't even do a different intro without stopping myself. Anyway, welcome back to Cody Tarot. I'm your tarot reader, Cody. So for today's pick a card, we're going to be doing the truth about your crush's personality. So this pick a card is specifically for if you have someone that you're crushing on, but you don't know a lot about them. Maybe they're a little bit of a mystery to you still. Maybe they haven't opened up to you fully, but you just kind of have a crush on them. So a lot of people who have crushes on someone from afar, this is going to be kind of the jam for you. This is going to be the reading for you. Because we're going to be really getting into what are they really like, specifically what are they like in an intimate relationship? What are they going to be like if you were dating them? What are they going to be like if you were connected with them on this intimate level? I don't know. I haven't done the reading yet, so I don't know what I'm going to pull as far as things about them yet. So I'm just going to kind of wing it as the reading goes on. Group 1's always my experimental group, and then I kind of see how the rest of the groups go based on the layout of Group 1. So I'll be using my intuition today to determine how to do the reading. So with that said, we're going to be getting into the 4 groups that we have for you to select from today. So first group is, we have big crystals today. So first group is Ocean Kyanite. That's group 1. Group 2 is Kunzite. So I'm going to pull it closer to the screen. That's group 2. Group 3 is Celestite. That's group 3. And last, group 4 is Citrine. So this is group 4. So we have lovely crystals today on the table. I went deep into my collection to find some of the most beautiful crystals I have. So you're welcome. Anyway, so let's get started with the reading. We're going to get started with group number 1. If you don't know how pick-a-cards go, you choose a crystal on the table and you pick your favorite crystal, or you pick the crystal you pick the crystal that your intuition's calling you to. Then in the description box of this video or in the comment section, there should be timestamps to move towards the area of the video with your group. You just click on that timestamp and it goes straight to your reading. So without further ado, hope you guys have selected your crystal. If you do need more time to select your crystal, please take that time now. You can pause the video if you need to, but without further ado, let's get into group 1 with the Ocean Kyanite. Okay, group 1. This is if you picked the Ocean Kyanite, this really cool looking gemmy chunk of kyanite. So let's get into your reading. So I have a few decks. I was scanning my decks to see what decks I want to pull for this reading. And I have to, let's just start with the cards I definitely know what I'm going to do. So I have these archetype cards, right? And I'm going to use these to represent their personality as far as how they're perceived in general by the public. Before you get to know them, or before they're in a relationship with you, or before you know who they truly are. And we have Dilettante. And then I have these Spirit Animal Oracle cards to get a reading for how they truly are once you are connected to them. So what is their true personality? How do they appear once group 1 has gotten to know their crush? That's what card wants to come out. We have Lion King, be generous of spirit. I'm going to pull some Love Story Oracle cards. Actually, I didn't. Sorry, I'm pulling the Whispers of Love cards, not the Love Story Oracle. Okay, this one wants to come out. We have Be in the Present and Dream of the Future. I can't tell you, I get this card so much in readings, personal readings specifically. This card comes out a lot. I feel like drawing another card for this reading. Maybe one on that side, one on this side. What other card wants to come out for how they are when they're revealed their true selves? We have get to know each other, learn to meet another's need for love. Another card that likes to come out in readings. Okay, so let's move on with the reading. We're gonna draw. I want to draw a Wisdom of the Oracle card to get the story of your guys' connection. Just a general, quick little how will this relationship unfold. We have Breathe. And then we're going to get some tarot cards. The only question is what deck to use. I think I want to use Classic Tarot. So this is a deck that I had at my parents' house for a while. I keep a couple decks up there just because I don't like taking them while I travel. And so this deck I brought down to my house finally, and I've been using it in some readings lately. So let's see what kind of magic it can release onto this reading. Okay, let's get some cards for, yes, we have this card for over here for how they truly are. And then we need a few more cards. Let's get three more. Let's try to get three more let's get a couple for how they are, how you perceive them to be. And then we need one more for how they truly are, or their true personality. This card wants to come out. We have Nine of Swords. Okay. Let's get into your reading. Hold on, guys, real quick. I'm going to turn off my air conditioner and open the screen door to my house. I'm going to let some fresh air in. I think that'll help get this reading flowing a little bit better. Okay, so let's get into the reading. I was getting little pieces of information from each card, and it was kind of creating this bigger picture of who this person is. So I'm going to get into it. So as far as how you're perceiving your crush, this is kind of showing up as how you're perceiving your crush. With dilettante, this is someone who's a little bit on the superficial side. They're a little bit more carefree is the word I'd like to use. So I feel like the reason why you're attracted to this person is because on the surface, they seem to not have a care in the world. They seem to be so carefree and possibly charismatic is kind of the vibe that I'm getting. Or they just seem to be like lighthearted, like there's nothing inside their soul that's like ever gonna bother them. It's kind of the vibe that I get. I also see that they're pretty talented. They're talented at whatever they do, and they can do a lot of different projects and be talented at anything that they put their mind to. We have this woman here with she has 6 different hands coming out of her body, right? And they're all doing a different hobby, right? And she's kind of sitting cross-legged, like meditating, which kind of makes me think that you see this person as like calm or centered in a way, but you also see this person as extremely talented, like they can do anything in the world. This person you probably see as someone who just has so many talents, like almost like a jack of all trades is kind of the vibe that I'm getting. And so that's kind of how you're kind of perceiving this person. This is kind of interesting too, because I see that this person with the 3 of Cups here, you're perceiving this person as someone with a lot of friends or someone who has a lot of friends. And I see that this is the true case, that this person does have a lot of friends, but because the dilettante card is coming out here, they might have a lot of superficial friendships that might not go deeper. And the only reason I'm saying this is because I'm picking up that you guys kind of want deeper connections ultimately. Is kind of the vibe that I'm seeing with your personality. And this person, they might have a lot of friendships or pull in a lot of people, but they're all in a way, like they're all kind of like lighthearted connections. They don't really get too deep into like intellectual issues, or they don't really get too deep into the drama of their own lives. I definitely see that there's like a carefreeness and almost in a sense, like a sense of escapism with their friends. Like, let's escape life. Like, let's not face what's going on in life. Let's kind of escape it. Let's kind of just play around and have fun. This is the type of person with the 3 of Cups here that possibly could be into polyamory. Like they are possibly into the concept of, or this is how they appear to be. They could appear to be someone who kind of wants to date 2 people at once, or they want to kind of play the field like that is kind of the vibe that I'm getting. The other thing that I'm seeing with this person with Page of Pentacles, this person, the way you're kind of perceiving them is like with the Page of Pentacles here, it's like they admire a lot in the world, or they have rose-colored glasses is kind of the vibe that I'm seeing. And this person also, you might see them as having like a way with money, or you might be curious if they have a way with money, because I'm seeing that how you perceive them is that they're like actually financially pretty responsible, or they have this ability to kind of like have a vision for the future as far as their finances go, is kind of the vibe that I'm getting. So they kind of get really curious about different practical projects to explore. And so it kind of gives them this sense that they have this kind of like practical side to them. Now, here's the interesting thing about this person. A lot of these traits about them are true. The only thing that I would say is not as true, how do I put this? The way you perceive them is very carefree, is kind of the vibe that I'm saying. You see them as very calm. You see them as very centered. You see them as able to like do many different things at once. They're talented at everything. Here's the truth though. With this 9 of Swords card, this person has a lot of inner anxiety. They have insomnia, or they can't sleep at night, and they struggle with like nightmares or toxic visions that creep into their mind, is kind of the vibe that I'm getting. And so one thing that I'm seeing with these 9 swords here is they have a lot of kind of built up trauma that they don't deal with, that kind of keeps them up at night, is kind of the vibe that I'm seeing. This can also be just in general, a general sense of anxiety or foreboding that they have. And it's interesting that they don't show it on the surface, because they keep this like totally within them, like buried deep. But I feel like if you were in a relationship with this person, this side of them would come out eventually. I think one of the reasons why they have so many superficial friendships is they don't have to face their demons. They don't have to like get involved with like feeling bad or feeling like the darkness within them or something, or they can kind of like chase away their fears with this kind of escapism. Because I'm seeing all these 3 women with their cups raised. So I'm kind of even thinking of like social outings, maybe with a lot of drinking and stuff like that. And so I'm definitely saying there's this kind of vibe of like just escapism and like happy-go-lucky kind of carefree vibes, when really on the inside they're kind of collecting this well of anxiety about them, is kind of the vibe that I'm seeing. The cool thing here is that they really do treasure their friendships. Even though the friendships don't go that deep, they really do respect, treasure, and love their friends. And it's a double-edged sword here, because they love their friends on one hand because they truly do love them. It's just they have another way of loving them. It's like they love them as who those people are as people, but they also love them because those are the people they can escape with. It's kind of like this double-edged thing. It's like, I love you because you help me go down that kind of rabbit hole of like I'm going to escape reality. And then at the same time, I love you because you're genuinely good people and I wouldn't want to be here with anyone else kind of vibes, you know? So even though there's this sense of like superficialness to them and their friendships don't get that deep, like the conversation doesn't get deep or they don't go into any kind of healing or anything like that, I do see that they do value and they do have strong amount of loyalty for their friends, is kind of the vibe that I'm seeing. And I think that comes across when you're meeting this person, or that's kind of this, it's a vibe you're intuiting about them that I think is actually pretty accurate, that they are pretty loyal. Now with Page of Pentacles, I see that they are pretty financially responsible, because over here we have Lion Spirit with Be Generous of Spirit. And with Page of Pentacles, they're pretty practical and they can do things well with money. In a way, this reading is kind of showing up as like it's hard to explain. It's like this is the kind of facade, and then this is the truth, the deeper truth. And the tarot cards are kind of representing things that like are truths that you can see and truths that you can't see, is kind of the vibe that I'm getting. So with the Page of Pentacles, they do have this ability to produce money or resources. They do have a financial aptitude, and it's specifically financial aptitude in the visionary sense of financial aptitude. So they're the type of person who, if they have a vision of what they want to do for a career, it's a profitable career choice. They might not have the staying power to stick with it. They might not have the ability to put in the grunt work that goes into this particular career, but their vision is accurate. They view the future and money-making opportunities in the future with a clear and accurate eye, is kind of the vibe that I'm getting. But because they're a Page of Pentacles, they might not be taken seriously by other people who are more adult-like, you know, or other people who have a lot of experience under their belt. This person kind of has this childlike enthusiasm when it comes to, how do I put it, practical stuff, money-making projects that kind of, how do I put this? it makes older adults kind of more distrustful of them, is kind of the vibe that I'm getting, because they see this person as kind of like they're not like taken seriously. But as far as you're seeing them, you see them as this person who is visionary or like smart money-making ideas for the future. You might even realize that some of their ideas they may have shared with you, or some ideas that they have or projects they're working on, you see them that they could be very, very profitable. So it's almost like you guys share a vision, is kind of what I'm seeing with your crush. Be in the present and dream of the future. This is just kind of echoing the Page of Pentacles card, that this person has a way of being very present focused and kind of making a lot of future plans. Like this person's definitely a goal setter, a goal person. Like this person, goal person, what am I talking about? This person likes to set goals in the future, and they like to achieve them, or at least they like to set the goal, is kind of the vibe that I'm getting. I'm not seeing so much if they achieve the goal or not, but they definitely like to set the goal in the future. They like to put that thing, that milestone ahead of them, and they want to try to achieve it. I see these dreams give them hope in the present moment, is kind of how I'm seeing this kind of aspect. It's like having this thing in the future to think about gives them actual courage and ability to accomplish a lot in the present moment. That's kind of how they're coming across in the way they love you. If they're loving you right now, it depends on how close you are with this person, if you know them that closely. But if you do know them on a superficial level, I'm seeing that this person has a way of kind of like talking to you about your goals, or talking to you about what you dream of in the future, or what kind of you want to happen in your life. They kind of want to hear about kind of like your dreams or your aspirations. Now it's interesting because I feel like this person, if you get too dark with your dreams, like if it go, instead of having like dreams of the future, if you start talking about like deeper, darker shadow work feelings or something like that, where you're having this kind of vibe of like, oh, this person hurt me in the past, or I don't want to deal with this trauma in the future, or something like that, this person's going to turn the other way, because they don't want to deal with the kind of self-reflection that brings up their own traumas in life, is kind of the vibe that I'm getting. They're kind of don't want to deal in that department. They might shut off or something like that. So in a way, this is kind of the way they communicate with their friends. It's like, okay, what are you dreaming about in the future? Like, let's make all our dreams a reality. You know, that's kind of the vibe that I'm seeing with them. Let's see what else. Things about them now, that's kind of more about how they are, that you're kind of perceiving them. Here's how they truly are if they were in a relationship with you. First of all, I see with the Breathe card, if they were in a relationship with you, the Breathe card is the mission statement here. This just means that you both would learn through connecting with each other that the best way to connect with another person is in a completely relaxed state of being. This is the type of person who I feel like if you got in a relationship with them, you guys would want to be as very calm as possible when communicating. I feel like turbulent waters could be a little too much. Like this lily pad is like carefully balanced on this pond, right? And I do see that she's like centered, and she has her hands like this, and she's kind of taking in like deep breaths, right? And it's kind of keeping her, the waters around her calm. It's keeping her afloat. And so I definitely see that you guys kind of your vibe as a couple, if you guys were to get together, is stay calm at all costs. Like be calm, be content, have like, you know, the phrase still waters run deep is coming to mind, but there's a play on words that I'm hearing in my head. Still waters run peace is kind of the thing that I'm hearing. So I know that doesn't make sense, but that's the word that's like, or the phrase that's coming to my mind right now is still waters run peace. Here's some things about them that when you get to know them, or things you don't know about them. First, I already mentioned the anxiety that kind of tied in with their sense of peace over here. I see that if you were to be with them, they would be sharing a lot of this anxiety with you. But with the Breathe card, I do see that you would have to learn how to kind of meditate together, or calm each other down, or focus on that sense of peace. It seems like with this person already sitting in this cross-legged position with this bowl in their lap, this person already does a lot of that too. Like they already try to meditate a little bit to get that sense of peace. But with you specifically, they would want a peaceful communication. That's kind of the vibe that I'm seeing. If the relationship was to work, the communication would have to be peaceful and very relaxed. With the Judgment card, I see that this person has a strong, how do I put this? I want to say inner compass. Inner compass is coming to my mind, but also with Judgment, it's like an inward sense of judgment is that I'm picking up for this card. This person, like, they're guided by an inner sense, like an inner sense of direction. That's kind of how their intuition works. And it is channeled to them by higher beings. And I don't know if they realize this, but it has this ability to move them and put them in the right place at the right time. And at the same time, with the Judgment card here, with the people being awakened, I see that they have this ability to waken people up and rouse them out of like a slumber. Now I see they do this in a kind of secretive way, so no one would be able to tell that they're doing this. It's like no one can really how do I put this? No one can intuit or feel out that they're doing this, but they have a way of speaking certain words to certain people and saying certain things to certain people that kind of get them roused up. You might realize if this person, if you have communication with them, that they might say a few things to you, and you might like ponder something they said, or something they mentioned comes up as an idea later throughout your day or throughout the week or something, and you might be like, whoa, that idea makes me feel really passionate, or I feel like I want to act on that. That's kind of what the Judgment card is representative here, is kind of like a call to action or being revealed. I see this person also with the people all being naked, and then this person kind of seeing them clearly and opening them up and rousing them out of their slumber. I do see this kind of vibe of they can really see through any facade, is kind of the vibe that I'm getting. They can see clearly through anyone's defenses. They can kind of see the truth behind people that few other people can see. And the cool thing about this is I don't think they see the whole truth, but they see enough of it for them to understand the people they're dealing with. And that's kind of the interesting thing about them. I feel this is just me personally, I feel if they dug deeper into seeing people for who they truly are, they would see their total, complete truth of their character and their identity. It's just that they don't dig that deep. That's kind of the vibe that I'm saying. That as far as like what they see, the superficial stuff that they see, they can see past a lot of defense mechanisms and lies, and I'm trying to think of what else they can see past. They can just kind of see people clearly. They kind of can understand people at first glance and kind of know what they're about and know what their intentions are, and that kind of vibe. With Judgment here, this implies that this is kind of factoring into their judgments about people. Like they kind of judge the world based on their perceptions of how they see these people, is kind of the vibe that I'm seeing. So they kind of can see, in a way they could see who they're compatible with before they meet those people. But at the same time, I want to put out a warning too, because this person, because they're so focused on the superficial side of life and they don't want to face their anxiety, they don't want to face their inner darkness, they might avoid people who want to talk about inner darkness, or they might avoid people who are actually good for them and they think they're not good for them just because they're seeing the parts. They're how do I put this? They can see everyone clearly, right? But they don't necessarily know what's best for themselves, is kind of the vibe that I'm getting. So they might avoid people who might be good for them in the long run, but how do I put this? They might avoid people that are good for them in the long run because they're so focused on what they want, and they use their intuition to kind of get what they want out of people and the types of people they're looking for in a connection. But they might overlook some people because they see some uncomfortable things in others that they don't want to face in themselves, but they really might need to work on those things themselves. They might need to face those things. And so that's kind of one of the things that I'm seeing with them, is they kind of use this gift and their sense of judgment gets a little warped by like what they want, right? If they could turn this on themselves, within themselves, and look within them, I think that they would find, I think it's going to have to start looking within for them, to be honest, because, and with this breathe card, I see that could be beneficial with meditation. If you do get into a relationship with this person, having them centered within themselves and not doing too much activity and kind of being within might help them get in touch with these feelings and, first of all, calm them down a little bit. And second of all, kind of see who they are internally. The last couple things I want to mention about this person, if you are in a relationship with this person, and also who this person is on a true deeper level, when someone is really close to this person, like once they've gotten through to like the inner core of friends and beyond that to like who they truly are, and they've dealt with some of these anxieties and difficulties that this person like has kind of buried within them, I see that this person is very generous. The Lion Spirit, this is the card of like super generosity. So one thing that I'm seeing is that this person would be very generous with you, very giving. I see that, first of all, this Page of Pentacles, when they're at this stage in development, right? Like, because I'm seeing this more as also a stage of development. This Page of Pentacles will have grown up into a knight, into a queen, into a king. And so at that point, they're sharing their wealth at this point, right? They've looked into the future at their money-making opportunities. They've profited off of them. They've grown those resources, and then they're sharing those resources. So I do see this person could be very, very generous with those who are in their inner circle. But I don't think you should expect them to be this way with superficial acquaintances. It's almost like they hide this trait about themselves. But if you were to, secretly talk to one of their friends or something that's close to them, they would tell you that this person's very, very generous. And you'd be like, what? I don't see that. But this person is very, very generous of their time, their energy, and their resources, right? Another thing too with people who are really close to them, and this is kind of interesting because this is something they're also avoiding, but I feel like if they got people close into their inner circle or people that are close to them, with get to know each other, learn to meet another's need for love, this is kind of going hand in hand with the breathe and the anxiety card. It's like getting to know each other, even the darker parts of the other person, and getting to know who they fully are and really are truly. I see that that's something that they would possibly enjoy in the long run, right? I'm saying long run because I feel like they're not at this place where they can enjoy that right now. But with the people who are really close to them, I feel like this anxiety part of their being kind of opens up or leaks out, and that's where the true sharing comes into play. That's where the true getting to know the other one, getting to know their hopes, their fears. It's funny because they talk about dreams and goals all the time, but almost in a superficial sense. What do you want to do for your career with the Page of Pentacles? It's what do you want to do for your career? What do you want to do for your job? What do you want to do for a living? But then when they really get to know people, it's who hurt you in the past, or what made you feel that way, or why are you feeling this emotion, or let's dig deeper into that. What does that feeling represent to you? Stuff like that. I feel like this person really could really benefit from that kind of content in a relationship, if that makes sense. Trying to see what else I can see. Yeah, the thing that you would realize about this person when you got to know them, or that if you were in a relationship with them, would first thing you would see is that they have excellent judgment. That's kind of the thing that you're not seeing right now that they do have, that they really have a good judgment of other people's characters around them. It's just that they don't always follow their good judgment, but they have it. They have that good judgment. With the Nine of Swords here, the other thing you're not seeing is that they do have a lot of anxiety. And that's one thing that I just wanted to warn you guys about, because with this crush here, with the Dilettante card, I see that you're attracted to them because of their carefree spirit and how positive they are. But once you get to know them, they do have this darker side to them where they have these anxieties that leak out, and they have these fears and these worries and the stress from life that kind of leaks out, that they're kind of escaping over here on this side. But really, if you got together with them, they would really want to get to know you. They'd want to know your inner soul. They would open up about their inner soul, probably after getting to know yours a little bit first. And then also generosity. They're just incredibly generous with their time, their resources, their energy, their money specifically. They're kind of this line's reminding me of the sun, and how the sun provides nutrients to the plants on earth and life on earth. And we also have this sun here providing light. And so the thing that they're the most generous with is their light. The light that kind of shines from within them is kind of the vibe that I'm getting, especially with this judgment card. They kind of can take this judgment and turn it into a healing force in their life. Yeah, I think I'm going to wrap it up with that. Thank you guys for letting me read for you today. It was truly an honor. I'm really happy to film this one. And with that said, if you like the reading, please like or comment below. If you really like the reading, feel free to subscribe to the channel. We're always welcoming new subscribers here at Cody Tarot. And with that said, we are moving on to group 2 with the Kunzite. Hey, group 2, this is if you picked this lovely pink Kunzite stone right here. So really cool stone. Let's make sure that's centered up there. Yeah, it's group 2. Let's get into your reading. So I kind of already know what cards I want to draw because of group 1. So let's get into it. This card is going to represent how you perceive them. We have Priest. And then we're going to have a card to represent what they're truly like once you get to know them. This card wants to come out. I'm going to take the top one. We have Wombat Spirit, Be at Home. And I want to draw some Whispers of Love cards. one for what they are, how you perceive them, how do you perceive how they love people. We have this card. We have receive with love and appreciation. Gracious acceptance is a way to show love. Perfect. And then we want another card for what's their hidden self? How would their love come out in a relationship? How is their love truly? How does it show itself? What is group 2 not seeing? We have rest and relaxation is essential. We all have a fundamental need to take a break. Okay. Then I want to draw a wisdom of the oracle card for, this is kind of like if you guys are, your relationship with each other, if you were to get in a relationship with each other, what is kind of like the mission statement of said relationship? How would you guys have to communicate to have a good, healthy relationship? You can think of this as like an advice card too, but this is also just kind of the card that tells you like how that aspect would be. And this card wants to come out. We have deep knowing. Very cool. And last, we're going to draw some tarot cards. And we're going to draw 2 for how this person, you can already see this person, and then 2 for things that you're not seeing about them. Okay, we have 1 for how you're not seeing as the Queen of Wands. And another 1 for what you're not seeing is the 7 of Wands. And let's get 2 for, ooh, this one kind of like popped out in a very fun way. We have the Knight of Swords. Ooh, that's exciting. Okay, that popped out in a really goofy way. Like the card, it was like, boop. So let's see what else comes out for what you already see about your crush. Knight of Cups. Wow, White Knight energy. We got both of the White Knights here. The only other white horse in the deck, I believe, is on the Death card. Okay. So let's see. Interesting. So your crush. Okay, let's get into it. So your crush, let's start with the first thing of how you're perceiving them. We have priest here. So your crush could be someone who you look up to in a spiritual sense. This could be a person who is like, I'm thinking that they have like a spiritual pull on you is kind of the vibe that I'm seeing. So with deep knowing here, I'm already seeing that this could be the beginnings of a psychic connection or like a psychic kind of relationship. So you guys might have some like crazy Neptune placements that are kind of like conjunct or something in your chart. Something like that, where it's like Neptune might be playing a part in this connection or some, different aspects like with that. With the priest card here, I do see this person definitely cares for you, or they have this kind of caring vibe to them. And they do have this vibe that they're very spiritually connected to forces outside of themselves. So this person might seem like they are, how do I put this? With this woman in prayer, right? This person might be very devout or might be religious. The other thing that I was thinking of when I first drew this card is like a good boy or good girl, or someone who's like very like follows the rules or follows the order of the time. Like if you think about the Bible and stuff, like oftentimes, sometimes it can just be like a list of rules, It is a deeply spiritual book for some people, and I feel that. But then I also see it as like sometimes there's a lot of just like rules and guidelines that so I definitely see this person like follows like kind of like a structure. They have like a religious structure they follow, or there's something about the signs and synchronicities they see and stuff that provides structure in their life. So they could be a very spiritual person. I feel like with priest here, I'm seeing someone who can communicate with the divine or communicate with angels. And it's interesting, this is how you're seeing them. So this is someone who, how do I put this? I'm seeing that this is not wrong, but I feel like this person is less spiritual than you think they are, is kind of the vibe that I'm seeing. I feel like you might feel like they are more deeply in tune than they actually are, is kind of the vibe that I'm seeing. I see on one hand with these two tarot cards here, these in the last reading in group 1 represented things that this person is that you're seeing that are visible, and then things that this person is that you're not seeing that aren't visible. And priest just kind of represents kind of like how you're seeing this person, but what they're maybe not really. They're almost like a facade. And wombat is kind of how they are truly. So things that are also about them that you kind of see about them. With Knight of Swords and Knight of Cups, one thing with Knight of Swords is you do see this person as someone who kind of can, how do I put this? They're not afraid to go against the grain, is kind of the vibe that I'm saying. They're not afraid to go against like societal standards. They're not afraid to go against the arguments that are common in the time that they live in. They're not afraid to get involved in like, this person could be very like debate driven, but the way this card popped out, very fun. It was very fun and playful the way the card emerged from the deck. And I've never had the Knight of Swords come out that way. Usually the Knight of Swords can come out in a more of an angry fashion, like someone who's very argumentative or something like that. But this person, I see this person, the way they have opposite opinions to things, or the way they throw themselves opposite into situations, or the way they do things very different than other people or on a different way than other people. You find this very enduring and cute is kind of the vibe that I'm seeing. You see that as kind of like, oh, that's adorable that you like want to do this way when like everyone else is doing this way, you know? I feel like you feel like this person goes their own way, and you feel like that's an admirable trait that they have. And so one thing that I'm seeing is even if winds are blowing extremely in one direction, right, and everyone's going one way, this person is going to stand up for what they believe in and go in the opposite direction, right, or whatever direction they fully feel, right? I see with this Knight energy too, like with coming with debates and stuff, they might feel like they might rescue people with language is the kind of the vibe that I'm getting. So I feel like they feel like it's their job to kind of share their pure viewpoint or their opinion with others so others can follow, how do I put this? So others can not necessarily follow them, just make up their own mind. I feel like they kind of have this way of brandishing the sword of truth to kind of make other people see, like, look, it's not all just the one way you thought it was, or it's not just the way everyone else thinks it is. It's this way too. It's this kind of way where you might not realize that you're going, you know, you might not realize, like, for this person, it's kind of like that's that expression where it's like the parents use with their kids all the time. They're like, now if Timmy walked off a cliff, would you jump off a cliff too? You know, it's like one of those things. It's like if everyone's going in one direction, but they're all doing something really bad, this person's kind of the one who kind of stands up and rebels against that. And they're kind of like, oh no, go the other way, or like, I have this opinion, or look at this opinion. Like, don't just go where the winds of change are blowing you. Go follow your own path, follow your own willpower, like fight against the machine, you know, that kind of vibe. And I'm saying that you see this is really cute and playful. It's like the way they do this is kind of like, I feel like maybe not a lot of people take this person seriously. They just see them as kind of like the odd man out. They kind of maybe like laugh at their opinions or something like that, but they don't take them that seriously. And I feel like for you, you also see this person, this attribute in them, you see it as very entertaining. I do feel like this person, and here's the thing, I do feel like you might also take them seriously. I think that's why this is coming up in this reading, but I feel like you still find that entertaining point in their arguments. This person wants to be taken seriously is kind of the vibe that I'm seeing here. They want to kind of at least have their arguments considered. They want people to consider their viewpoint and acknowledge it. That way they know that this way this person can feel, the person that you have a crush on can feel like at least they share that viewpoint, and people can make up their own minds from there, right? But at least they know that bit of truth that your crush has, right? So yeah, that's a little bit about the Knight of Swords and this energy. And because it popped up so playfully, this is something I feel like you find about this person. You find it very entertaining. You find it very fun. You find it very enjoyable. I feel like this is probably one of the reasons you really have a crush on this person is because they are such an individual and they go their own way. Other things that I'm seeing with the Knight of Cups here, one thing you could see about this person, about your crush, is you could see them as very romantic and very sharing. With the Knight of Cups, I often get like travel, like this person might like to travel or go places. The way I'm seeing it here is it's almost like, even though they have these playful opinions, or they have these like antagonistic opinions to what society's doing or how the rest of society's going, you know, they're kind of going their own way or fighting against fighting for their own space, basically. With Knight of Cups here, I do see, on the other hand, that this person is very caring, and especially that comes out with the Priest card again here, is this person's very caring and very romantic. With these wings here on this Knight of Cups, like armor. He has wings on his feet and wings on his helmet. Usually this makes me think of messages, and that could apply in this reading, that this person has a way of sharing messages with other that's in a very like spiritual, loving, and caring way, that they have a way of like coming down from the mountain and sharing the message with the masses, you know? But at the same time, with the Knight of Cups here, with these wings here, I do see that they might be guided by some angelic forces in their life. So similar to the priest energy, it's just that I feel like it's interesting. This reading is coming out in an interesting way because I see that you're seeing them as the priest, and you kind of already know these things about them. You know they're guided by higher forces. You yourself watching this might be very spiritual in order to intuitively pick this up about them. But I feel like you understand that this person, or what you don't see is that this person doesn't see themselves that way. They don't understand that that's where these things are coming from, or these messages are coming from, or their care and energy and concern is coming from. It's not coming from a divine force. They just see it as kind of like something they do, is kind of the vibe that I'm seeing. Yeah, but this person is definitely delivering messages from higher sources. And I feel like this person has a way of being in the right place at the right time. Very similar to group 1. Also, I'm seeing the river in the Knight of Cups card, and it's just reminding me of them going towards something that's bigger than themselves. Like the river kind of starts off in the mountain in these high ethereal places where like snow's falling, and then the river kind of like melts and it goes from higher ground to lower ground. It's kind of moving from the higher consciousness with these angel wings is kind of what I'm saying, this higher consciousness moving down slowly into the consciousness of everyone in the masses. So even though this person might be very opposite of people and have opposite opinions, they're slowly but surely moving into integration with the rest of the group. And so over their lifetime, their journey might be to like move into integration with the rest of the group. And it's funny, I'm picking up so many deep messages about this person. So these are things that you probably already know about this person. Like you see them as someone who goes against the grain, but you see them ultimately like they're going to turn their perspectives towards the larger group eventually. It's kind of like the vibe that you're seeing. And it's interesting because it's not necessarily like the winds of change, right, that we see here with the Knight of Swords. It's the Knight of Cups where it's like water and intuition. It's like they're flowing to a deeper understanding of a larger, bigger picture with their intuition. The ocean kind of connects all of the earth, and it covers all the things that are hidden, right? Everything that's hidden under the sea kind of has more of a strange appearance and kind of has these kind of like aspects to themselves that are like different than what's on the surface, right? And things that like humans can't see. You know, you have to go underwater, you have to hold your breath, you know, going to the depths of the ocean, like almost impossible for humans to do. I think we can do it in some cases, but I think correct me if I'm wrong, but aren't there places in the ocean where we can't even reach? Like we don't even know what exists there. So I'm seeing that this person is moving towards those deeper unconscious realms, which is really interesting. And you kind of see them going in that direction. Oh my gosh, there's just so much. Okay, so the other thing that you see about this person with receive with love and appreciation, this person receives with love in their heart. So this person knows how to accept a compliment. This person knows how to accept a kind word. This person receives with love and appreciation. This person is very grateful and has this sense of gratitude about their entire life. I think this is another thing that attracts things to them, is kind of the vibe that I'm seeing. Now let's get into aspects about this person where there are things that you don't know about them, but these are things that are like true about them, and once you would get to know them, what they're all about, right? So this person, interestingly enough, with Wombat Spirit be at home, I'm seeing one thing that you really don't see about them is this person loves to be at home. This person is a homebody. They don't really like to travel too much. They don't like to go on adventures. They just like to stick it out at their home base. I feel like this person, they don't really like to go too far out of their comfort zone. This person might have very like Cancerian energy, to be honest. Like I'm getting Cancer vibes here where it's like the safety is the most important thing. And like, if I'm not safe, I don't feel comfortable, and I don't want to travel because I want to stick close to home. So I'm getting very much like Cancer vibes with this person. Also, I feel like this person, interestingly enough, one thing you don't see about them is they have a self-image about themselves that is not necessarily perfect. Like they might have a, how do I put this? Like a degrading view of themselves, if that makes sense. Like they might see themselves as kind of like hideous in a way, or they might see themselves as like an ugly person. They might have features of on their body that they don't like or something like that. Or this person just has a way of kind of not really wanting to see. It's like they see deep into themselves, and it's part of it is like, I don't really like what's there. I feel like this person has like aspects about themselves that they really don't admire. I feel like they think there's parts of them that are not worth bringing to the surface. I mean, this wombat spirit looks like, I don't know much about wombats, but this creature looks like a creature that's like comes out at nighttime. It's kind of the vibe that I'm seeing with the way the face shape is and the eyes and stuff. I feel like this creature's nocturnal, and so it's almost like they're part of themselves that comes out in hiding. It's like they have this secret part of themselves that they don't show anyone. And with Be at Home, I feel like at home they can be this full piece of themselves. They can be fully themselves. I think this person is probably looking for a soulmate where they can truly and fully be open and completely honest with themselves and have themselves be honest with another person. I feel like deep sharing and commitment is important for this person. Just like water signs in the zodiac, I feel like this person wants deeper connections rather than superficial connections. They want to share their darker side with someone, and they want to kind of integrate that. It's kind of like a secret desire of theirs. With rest and relaxation as essential, it says we all have a fundamental need to take a break. I am seeing that this person you have a crush on really loves relaxing. Like they hate work, they hate any kind of work, they hate any kind of exertion of effort. This person just loves being lazy, relaxing. I feel like this person might eat a lot. This person might not want to go to the gym all the time. They really want to rest and relax. They want to kind of just take it easy. I feel like this person loves things like blankets and like really nice home cooked meals and stuff like that, because we have Be at Home as well. So this person really just loves rest and relaxing and really just luxuriating in the comfort of their own home. The thing that I'm seeing too with the Queen of Wands for this person, something you don't see about them is, it's interesting. The Queen of Wands is this person who has like two sides to her character, right? She's holding this bright sunshiny sunflower in her left hand, right? And it represents the fact that like when she can go out in public, she is the bright shining star of the group. Like she is so charismatic, she is so popular, she is so like in your face, like positive charismatic vibes, right? Now when she's at home with the cat here, I see that the Queen of Wands is this person who also has a mysterious side. Like when her energy reserves are depleted, she becomes really mysterious. Or when she's around people she doesn't know, she quickly turns into this kind of cat-like personality that doesn't want to be touched, doesn't want to deal with people, doesn't want to kind of, it's almost like a very, it's interesting. You might see this person as very warm-hearted or someone who's very sunshiny. With the cat here, I'm seeing this person is also very mysterious and aloof. And this person doesn't like close contact with people. The other thing that I'm seeing is the lions and the cat too, and it's making me think of like pride. This person has a lot of pride. They put a lot of like effort into their work, and they really expect it to be of the highest caliber is kind of the vibe that I'm getting. Which is interesting because I feel like they don't work a lot. It's like with that rest and relaxation, it's almost like they don't want to work at all or ever. But at the same time, it's like when they do something or an activity, they want to put a lot of like energy into it, or they want it to be of good quality is kind of the vibe that I'm getting. They want their stuff to be really good quality is what I'm seeing. With this Seven of Wands here, one thing that I'm seeing that you don't know about this person is they're constantly battling other people. Something that you could intuit from this Knight of Swords energy, because they're kind of going against the grain to share their opinions. But because this card came out so playfully, I see they do this in such a cute, not superficial, it's like a playful way. They kind of playfully do this. They do get their point across, like, okay, you got to pay attention to this point of view, because if you're just going to go in this direction, you at least need to know this piece of truth, right? They do that But the truth is, they feel like they're constantly battling society, is kind of the vibe that I'm getting. They're constantly putting up resistance to society. Society's kind of always wearing them down. They feel like they're on a different level than society. Like they feel like they're very unique and individual. Another interpretation of the Queen of Wands I get is that she feels very unique and like an individual. Like she's kind of the only one of her kind, is kind of the thing that I'm seeing. And so they feel kind of alone in that sense, because they feel like they don't relate to anyone else. They don't have a lot of connections that are really like, they don't really connect with people that easily, is kind of what I'm seeing. One thing about your relationship, if you're in a relationship with this person, or if you guys get closer with deep knowing, I see that like there is a deep and powerful intuition that is brewing between both of you, is kind of the vibe that I'm seeing. So there's something about deep, powerful knowledge. I mean, we see this river over here kind of flowing into this deep knowing card. And so one thing that I'm seeing is that you guys would develop a very deep intuitive connection with each other if you guys were in a relationship together. And intuition would be a really big factor in bridging the gap between this relationship. I see that knowing things about one another is really, really paramount and important. And one thing where I'm seeing that this could be a very successful relationship, to be honest, because with the Wombat spirit here, be it home, I feel like this person just wants someone to see all their dark sides and just kind of like accept them, like, and not like judge them for it, is kind of the vibe that I'm getting. And with deep knowing here, I see that you kind of have this ability to, or both of you have this ability to truly see each other and kind of see into the future with each other. It's almost like you not only can see the other one clearly, but it's almost like you guys both can see the future clearly. It's like you both have this vision of the future where you both can agree on things. It's like, oh yeah, I see that. You know, it's almost like, how do I put this? And it's funny because I'm picking up this vibe right now that like they might share these opinions of the future with other people. Like, hey, look, this might be coming down the line. Like, you need to be aware of this. But you guys, on the other hand, you might be watching this and you have these intuitive hunches about things, but you don't share them with people. You just kind of keep them to yourself because you're like, you know what? People can just do what they want. The world's going to keep rolling on how it's going to roll on. I don't need to share my intuition with others. You know, it's like, no matter, it's going to happen no matter what. So I'll just keep it to myself and just kind of sit back and enjoy the show. You know, this person's kind of like has the idea of like, well, we got to like intervene. You know, this is kind of the vibe that I'm seeing. And so one thing that I'm seeing is both of you are going to have this deep knowing about the future. You guys share a common vision of what the future is going to be like. And so there's a lot of agreeing on like where you guys are at with that kind of aspect in your life. I think that's about it. Let me take one quick glance over to see if I see anything else. One thing I want to point out with the Queen of Wands too is this person, it's interesting because I'm seeing over here with the Knight of Swords and the Knight of Cups, this person is viewed as a little bit immature, and it's almost like you guys see them as a little immature. That's the side that is kind of being revealed. With the Queen of Wands here, this person has more of a leadership vibe in a very nurturing way. They kind of have a way of, how do I put this? Leading through nurturing is kind of the vibe that I'm getting. They have this way of nurturing others, but from a place of leadership is kind of the way I'm seeing it. So they kind of have a way of showing the way, showing the path forward. What we see again with the Knight of Swords here and kind of the Knight of Cups is it's like traveling towards the ocean. They kind of have a way of showing the path forward, but at the same time being, how do I put this? Being very nurturing about it is kind of the vibe that I'm getting. Okay, well that about wraps up the reading. I really enjoyed reading for you guys today. It was a lot of fun. If you liked the reading, please like or comment below. If you really enjoyed the reading, feel free to subscribe to the channel. We're always welcoming new subscribers here at Cody Tarot. And with that said, we're going to move on to Group 3 with the Celestite. Thank you guys again so much for watching. Hey, Group 3, this is if you picked the Celestite, this cool looking stone. Celestite helps you connect with your angels. Okay, so before this reading came on, I had this thought about my own personal life, and I felt like I would share it because it might be relevant to you guys before Group 3. Because I was in my kitchen, I was drinking water, and I was realizing I'm actually trying to cut coffee out of my life. So maybe that is relevant to you guys. Maybe you are trying to quit something that you do all the time or something like that. So that's just a little side message that I got before this reading, and so I felt like sharing it for this group. So let's get into the main gist of this reading. So first we're going to pull a archetype card to represent your crush. And we will see what they're like that you can kind of see in them, but that you're maybe misperceiving. What about them? What does group 3 see about their crush that they may be misperceiving? Okay, this card wants to come out. We have Mystic. Interesting. I'm getting vibes of like group 2, but like the darker version of group 2 is kind of the vibe that I'm seeing. Oh, let's see. And then we have Swan Spirit for how they really are, which is time for a deep dive. Wow. Okay. What's next? Okay, yeah. Now we're going to get Whispers of Love cards to represent how they love, how you can see that they love, or how you see or think they love, and then also how they truly love, or what they truly do when they are being very loving. This card has to come out with Take a Chance on Love. When we love, our lives are changed forever. And then we need what they are truly like when they share love. And we have this card that wants to come out. We have Listen with your heart. You are listening, but need to hear with a loving heart. Interesting. And let's get that relationship statement card. If you're with a friend and one of you guys already watched groups 1 or 2, you know what this card is. But if you're just joining us and you're only watching pile 3, this represents your relationship kind of with this person, and how like kind of the advice given for you guys, and also how your connection would be if you did get in a relationship with them. And then I also am going to draw some tarot cards, and then we're going to get into the reading. So we have 2 tarot cards over here for what you see in them that they actually are. And then we have 2 tarot cards over here that are what you don't see in them that they actually are. These 2 want to come out for what you don't see in them they actually are. And then we need 2 more for what you see in them that they, okay, we have, yes, I knew it. Okay. Okay, so what else is coming out? Let's see. We have, wow, this is an interesting person. Just from first glance, like, I still need to look over the cards to see like the specifics of the reading, but from what I'm seeing, this person, interesting person you have a crush on. I feel like you guys have good taste though. I feel like this person's a little different than your average person. And I think you guys have good taste in who you have a crush on. So let's get into this reading. Let me take a look at it and then we'll get into it. Okay, this is great. Okay, so I'm gonna have fun with this reading. Okay, so let's get into it. So much to unpack, so little time. Okay, so with Mystic, we have Light attribute, reveals an intimate union with the divine. Okay, if you've been watching the other groups, or you have a friend you're watching and you guys pick different crushes or something like that, this is the group that like you perceive this person as being like in union with the divine. Like as a mystic, this person has like deep occult knowledge. This person probably has a lot of 8th house placements that are really prevalent in their chart, or really like, what's that called? Is the word exalted? I don't know too much about astrology, but it's like it could be exalted in their chart, these 8th house placements, or something like that. Or there could be stuff with like Scorpio or something like that. Because I'm seeing this deep purple color and it is reminding me of like Scorpio. This person that you have a crush on, first of all, you see them as very dark. You see them as very mysterious. You see them as very like compelling. You see this person as fascinating is kind of the vibe that I'm seeing. And one thing that I'm seeing is you see this person really takes a chance when love comes into their life. Like when a new person comes into their life or a lover comes into their life, they really take a full chance on that person. So I feel like you've seen this person in intimate relationships before, or you've been around them when they've been in an intimate relationship, or you've seen them through one of their relationships that they've had. And you really see that like, wow, like this person really just goes all out. Like they really give their all to their partner. This is the type of person that when they're with a person that, and this is kind of how you guys perceive them, but it's also, there's other factors at play that I'm gonna get to that are different than this way you're perceiving them. But for the most part, how you're perceiving them is correct. They go all out in a relationship. They're the type of person who, once they're in a relationship, they're like 100% in. There's like nobody else. They just focus on that one other person, and they take a chance on true love. They give every opportunity to that connection to see what love can come out of it. And this person is just like incredibly psychic. Like with the Mystic card here, this person is incredibly psychic. You perceive them this way. They may act this way, and they definitely are. They are. Here's the thing. Unlike group 2, who was a person the group 2 kind of perceived their person as like spiritual, but that person didn't feel as spiritual themselves. They felt a little more ordinary. This person specifically like knows they're psychic, and they feel they have an identity or an ego with the 5 of Swords here. They have an ego in their mysticism. They have this kind of ego about it, if that makes sense. I feel like this person is not afraid to alienate people from them, is kind of the vibe that I'm getting. Like, how do I put this? They're not afraid to kind of like they're not afraid to make enemies, is kind of the vibe that I'm seeing. I feel like this person secretly like wants enemies because they need an opponent, is kind of the vibe that I'm seeing. And also, I'm also saying that if this is not the case for your person, because that's a pretty extreme trait that I'm pointing out. If this is not the case for your person definitely has an ego that alienates people, and people kind of turn away like, okay, really? They think they're that hot, or they're that hot stuff or something like that. And so people turn away and they don't really like pay attention to this person. But I see that you kind of see this person as having a little bit of an ego. Now, the funny thing is, you guys find this ego incredibly attractive. It's like their confidence is so alluring to you that you just can't help but like fall in love with this person. Like that's where your crush is stemming from, is because this person has so much assurance, so much confidence in their point of view and their way of being, that you're like, oh man, I want that. Like I want to have that confidence. I want to have that assurance. I want to have that ability to kind of just know things and like be like sure about knowing things, is kind of the vibe that I'm getting. Yeah, this person is, man, I can't tell you, like, you're right that this person might actually share with you, or has shared with you, that they're a mystic or a psychic, and maybe that's how you're perceiving them. But at the same time, you may have had some experiences with this person where they have shown you their psychic gifts, and you have been kind of like awakened by them, is kind of the thing that I'm seeing. I feel like you've seen them through a few relationships though, with Take a Chance on Love. I feel like this person has been in a few relationships, but every single one, they totally devoted themselves completely and wholeheartedly without a second thought to their partner. And so that's something that's really powerful about this person. This person I'm seeing with the 6 of Cups here, this talks about past connections. It also talks about giving and sharing. And in the way I was seeing it when I first looked at the cards, I was thinking of it as like, this person like is giving or generous, but it comes off kind of awkward, is kind of the vibe that I'm seeing. Like it comes off a little immature or juvenile, how they give or receive or like exchange things with other people, is kind of the vibe that I'm getting. Like I feel like they do it, or they want to do it, but it comes off weird, is kind of the vibe that I'm getting, mainly because they're such a strong and invulnerable type of person, right? Like people don't feel like this person deserves any kind of like sympathy or care or support, because they honestly just feel like this person can handle it all themselves. Like they're so tough and so strong that they can just handle whatever life throws at them, right? Now, what I'm seeing here with this 6 of Cups, this is something that I'm seeing that you guys specifically have seen in them, that you're perceiving as something that you find incredibly attractive about them, but to other people it comes off weird. And it's something that it's interesting because it's coming off in the area of the reading where it's something you know about them instead of something you don't know about them, but this is also coming through as something that only you know about them, if that makes sense. So for example, you might be the ones who know that this person is incredibly giving or generous, but you know that it's an awkward area for them, or you know that it's a weakness of theirs, or you know it's something that they struggle with dealing with. It's like they either struggle with receiving gifts or they struggle with giving gifts or something like that. But whatever the case, you know it's a slightly awkward area for them, and you find it incredibly attractive. It's in a way, it's like social awkwardness that's like really cute and endearing is kind of the vibe that I'm getting. So you might see this person as kind of like, it's like when they have to share with others, it's like they get really innocent. Like it's almost like, how do I put this? They enjoy it. It's like they get really like bashful or something like that, or they get really like sweet or sincere or something like that. They totally act out of character when they have to share with someone, because they enjoy it. They really enjoy sharing their resources and sharing with other people, but they don't do it often. And I feel like they have to be prompted into doing it. It's not something they just naturally do because they're already in this tough and vulnerable energy where it's like, I'm just accumulating, right? Like I'm accumulating, like this guy has like all the swords. Everyone else has just dropped their opinions. Like swords represent ideas, opinions, stuff like that. Everybody else has just dropped their opinions down at his feet, right? They're like, forget you. I'm not even going to like deal with you. I'm going to just leave my opinions at the door and I'm going to walk away and not have any opinions at all. And so this guy over here is like collecting all these like knowledge, right? Like he's collecting all this knowledge from other people and he's building this ego in a way that's how their psychic abilities almost work. It's less a fact that it's like divine forces. And to me, it seems more like they're getting thoughts from other people's brains is kind of the vibe that I'm seeing, and kind of developing their own ego with other people's perspectives, if that makes sense. Anyway, this is kind of stuff that you're seeing about them. That last bit, maybe not, but I am seeing that you kind of see all these things about them. Over here with how they truly are, or almost like what things that you're not seeing about them. With the magician here, this person is extremely in touch with the abilities of magic and getting what they want using magic. They can easily get whatever they want because they have whatever tool is necessary to get whatever they want in this lifetime. They've tapped into their full potential as far as like the ability to manipulate their environment with like magical forces. Basically, manifestation comes very easy to them. But I'm specifically seeing like witchy, occulty type of vibes with this person. Also with Ace of Cups, this person is incredibly self-loving. They love themselves very, very fully and completely. They have so much self-love for themselves that it overflows and kind of gives them an aura, and it kind of amplifies their confidence. It's like people are not sure why they're attracted to this person because they're like, what? So many people are repelled by this person. Like group 3, I'm telling you, your crush, they repel a lot of people, but they attract a lot of people too. And it's because this Ace of Cups is like this full loving vibe, this loving energy cup. And so what happens with them is like they get this aura of love, that they fully love themselves and they have enough love to love others. Their love is kind of overflowing. And so in this way, people who don't, how do I put this? Not that you guys don't love yourselves, but it's just people who don't have enough self-love or don't have enough care for themselves or take care of themselves or nurture themselves. People who don't focus on their own needs are attracted to this person because this person kind of is someone who takes care of their own needs all the time, really easily, really naturally, really develops that side of themselves. With Listen with Your Heart, we have You Are Listening But Need to Hear with a Loving Heart and Swan Spirit Time for a Deep Dive. These are the areas that, like all of these things are true about them, right? Like all these tarot cards, these are things that are true about them that you're not really seeing. So with Swan Spirit Time for a Deep Dive, your crush really dives deep into their psyche. With these pink flowers and white swan, but over here we have this dominating influence and this dark purple of this mystic. I'm seeing that on one hand, this person has this like dark, intimidating, mystical energy or mystical vibe about them that kind of makes them seem like they're in touch with a little bit of the shadier sides of life is kind of what I'm seeing. And I'm seeing that's why you guys are attracted to them because they're not like a typical like airy fairy kind of like, love and light type of psychic. Is that kind of the vibe? They're kind of like, they know the darker aspects of reality and they're not afraid to work with them. It's kind of the vibe they project. But the funny thing is, on the inside, when they dive deep into their own mind is so light and fluffy, it's ridiculous. Like, their own mind is like butterflies and rainbows and like butterscotch gumdrop villages, like, I don't know. It's like so like, it's like heaven in their own head, right? So they have this very, very peaceful, light, fluffy, beautiful inner world. The swan represents beauty, and with time for a deep dive, it's just representing that this person really, they like to dive deep into their mind, because even though their outward world is kind of one of like domination and like force and stuff like that, their inner world is so peaceful, light, fluffy, happy. It's like they have this like very loving inner world. With this self-love here, it also amplifies their inner world, right? So the more, and they're kind of aware of this, right? Like, that the more self-love they have, the more happier or positive their inner world becomes. And it's very like beautiful is what I'm going to say. I'm saying, I know I said like gumdrop rainbows and stuff like that, but like, it's more like it's beautiful for them. It's like they have a very gorgeous inner imagination, right? If they were prompted to like, if someone ever asked them like, what are you thinking about? Like, the answer that they would say would be so beautiful and breathtaking, you'd be blown away. With listen with your heart, it says you are listening but need to hear with a loving heart. This is interesting because this is showing up as how you would be in a relationship with them. I feel like you guys are attracted to their forceful side and kind of like attracted to the abilities of them to like have these mystical abilities, and the fact that they're not afraid of anything, and they're very kind of like in a way confrontational, and you're attracted to that awkwardness of giving and sharing and caring that they have. But with listen with your heart, you are listening but need to hear with a loving heart. It's interesting. I see that you guys, on one hand, you're more in tune, watching this reading, you're more in tune with the outer manifestations of love, where this person's, your crush, is more in tune with like inward self-love. Like, how do I love myself? You guys are more focused on how do we love each other as a society? How do I love my neighbor? How do I love my friend? I think that's one reason why you're attracted to this person, or why you have a crush on them, because they make so many enemies that you kind of see them as like your opposite in a way, is kind of the vibe that I'm getting. And you almost see that like you could help in that regard, because you bring people together. You build a stronger community. You make people more harmonious on an outward level. It's kind of your talent. If you didn't know that already, you know now. And so the one thing that you like about them is that they do have this way of like not caring what other people think. And so even though they like are forceful and they can push people away and they're not afraid to make enemies, you kind of see that as like your opposite thing. Now, I do see this as a little bit of a contention here with listen with your heart. You are listening but need to hear with a loving heart. The thing is that's making me think that this would not be fully contentious is because I am seeing these two women, and this could be something that happens in the long run. This is kind of representing you, and this is kind of representing them. She's making this woman listen to this seashell, right? She's giving her this second vibe of like, there's another texture to the universe, is kind of what I'm seeing her doing. She's like, look, listen to this shell. Like, do you hear the ocean within the shell? It's like she's explaining that there's like a bigger picture, basically. And so this person, this mystic person that you guys have a crush on, might be a little short-sighted in that way. They might be so focused on their own interests that they're not afraid to make enemies, that they don't listen to the rest of the universe, the things that the rest of the universe is trying to tell them. I see with community here, that could be a big turning point in your connection if you did get into a relationship with this person, where community would be really important, that both of you would really care for your community and nurture people in your community. I see that working with the community is very important, and it makes sense because you like them because of that fact that they can alienate others and you can bring people together. So I see that all takes place on a communal level. It doesn't really have to do with who they are or who you are or how you guys are going to be together. It really has to do with like how you can be in a community and how you guys cooperate in a community. So I don't see this relationship really being too close or personal or intimate with each other, but I do see it kind of operating on a larger communal scale, basically. Like, people really can get a picture of like the two different vibes that both of you have, right? Because in a way you guys are opposite each other, not necessarily in a way that like creates total complete intimacy, but in a way that I'm seeing like people can see like their methods, and then they can see your methods. And the kind of vibe that I'm seeing is that they can kind of like choose what methods they want based on seeing them. It's like people get a clearer picture of reality by looking at both of you. And in that way, they can see how the world operates very clearly. It's like they get a clear picture of like, oh, the world operates like this or like this, or that's why these two things are operating this way. So I can see this aspect and this aspect. It's kind of like they get to see a clear picture of like how they can choose to treat other people and how they want to go about it, basically. And they can make up, and that's the thing, and you're going to meet people, if you guys get in a connection with this person, or you already know this person, you maybe you're already realizing this, that people in your community kind of like might side with one of you or the other. And it might be one of those things where it's like they're choosing a path, right? They're choosing a path of how do we treat people on the outward, if that makes sense. I think that's about it for this reading. Let me see if I see anything else. Yeah, I'm seeing you really deeply admire this person. Like you like, it's not, it goes beyond a crush, and the fact that you just are completely fascinated by them. This person's a very interesting person. I do think you have good taste. I feel like this person is very gifted and probably misunderstood is kind of the vibe that I'm seeing too. It's funny, I'm seeing that you kind of, the thing that you see about them, that gift giving side that's a little awkward, I see that's kind of like your ticket in to like getting with this person, or to like have a intimate connection with them, is like, if you know how to approach them, or you have a way of approaching them with giving them a gift or receiving a gift from them. I'm seeing specifically, if they give you a gift, you're going to know that you're in their inner circle. But if you give them a gift, it's going to be seen as very special to them. They might not know how to react. They might even react with hostility with this Five of Swords here, but they will deeply appreciate that gift. Like, it'll mean a lot to them, basically. Okay, so I'm going to end the reading there. Thank you guys for letting me read for you. That was so much fun. If you enjoyed this reading, please like or comment below. If you really liked the reading and you resonated with my energy, please feel free to subscribe to the channel. We're always welcoming new subscribers here at Cody Tarot. And with that said, we are going to move on to the last group, group 4, with the Citrine. Thank you guys again so much for watching. Hey, group 4, this is if you picked this Citrine crystal. So, yeah, cool crystal. Let me make sure that's even up there. Okay, so let's get into your reading. So this first card is going to be how you perceive them. You have God. Interesting. We're getting a lot of spiritual cards today. I'm getting like priest, mystic, God. There's a lot of like spiritual components to this reading. Let's see how they truly are, that you are not what you are not seeing about them. This card wants to come out. We have Snake Spirit, Time to Heal. And let's get the Whispers of Love cards to see how they show love and how, let's see how they show love. We have Choose Love. You always have a choice. Make yours with love. And let's see how they truly show love. Have faith. Trust your faith in this situation. And let's get your Wisdom of the Oracle. This is if you were to be in a relationship with this person, what kind of energy would be come out with both of you. And we have this, take this top card. We have Imagine. And we have these tarot cards to come out with. We have one card over here for how they, things that, the tarot cards are things about them that are actual things about them that you can see, and actual things about them that you don't see. This card's more like how you perceive them. That's kind of like a little bit false, except for group 3, it was a little different than that. But then this card also is how they're kind of, how they're, what you're not seeing about them, basically. Okay, and this is also one that wants to come out for, okay, now let's get some that for like Wow, these two want to stay out, so we'll take them. We have 10 of Wands and the Moon card. Okay, let's get into your reading. Okay, all right, let's get into this reading. So first we have kind of how you perceive them. We have the card God. This is just showing me that you guys really like your crush, or you believe there's nothing they can do wrong. Like this person is, you know, like the embodiment of heaven to you is kind of the vibe that I'm getting. This card actually also says benevolence and compassion, recognizing the internal force within yourself and others. You see this person as incredibly loving and caring is also the vibe that I'm seeing. So there's a vibe here that like this is also not exactly how they are. This person is not necessarily a god, right? Like this is one of those relationships, or this is one of those situations, right, where this person is not as powerful as you perceive them to be. Even though this person you believe is like this divine being, or like this ungodly, powerful force in your life, or something that has a lot of control over you, or has a lot to do with how you live your life, you know, like you almost worship this person. It's kind of the vibe that I'm getting. And so one thing that I'm seeing here is that this person is not God. They have some qualities that make them pretty strong is what I'm seeing with this responsibility card, and the fact that this guy is very strong in this card. They have things that make them strong. So they have this ability. They are very, how do I put this? They're very strong and they choose love. They're always choosing the most loving way to move forward with things. And they're very nice and they're very kind, but they are not a god. It's kind of the vibe. This is the thing that the cards want to tell you, you know, like, and that's kind of maybe something that maybe you guys need to hear, like maybe on a deeper level, like maybe, well, obviously you're watching this reading, you're like, okay, I know they're not a god, you know, but like what I'm seeing is it's like maybe part of you really does think they're a god, you know, like maybe on a subconscious level, you kind of view them like that, or you view them as some kind of deity, or like deity in human form is kind of the vibe that I'm getting. What I'm seeing is that this is kind of like a mistake to view them as. I feel called to immediately go into like how they truly are, what you're not seeing, just because I want to get into how they truly are. With Snake Spirit, we have someone with 5-5 here. This is someone who loves change. They love change. They love adapting. They love shedding one part of their personality and changing into something different. So this is someone who does... It's interesting. They have two sides to their character here, which is really interesting. And these two things combine to make a really powerful person. On one hand, how they truly are. I feel like really getting into how they truly are right away. I think that might be something that you guys really are curious about. But I did want to like start with how you perceive them, just so you know if this is your right pile. But I'll get into like some of their attributes right away. So with Snake Spirit Time to Heal, we have someone who like moves on from one life situation to the next when it's time for them to shed their skin and move forward in life is kind of the vibe that I'm getting. So on one hand, this person, how they truly are, or how they truly are is someone who kind of needs to shed their old life away and kind of start a new life again, start something new or brand new. They don't want to stick around in one place for too long. They have to kind of change their environment every so often to like shed their old skin and begin anew. And that's kind of how they heal, right? That's kind of the thing you're not really seeing about them. So maybe you guys are like someone who wants someone who's going to be there for them at all times or something like that. And this person kind of has this have to move on after a certain amount of time kind of vibe to them. Let's get into like how they are and what things you know about them. So things you know about them, you know they're really strong and they can handle a lot of responsibility. I mean, this person can do the most for those they care for. They really take on the burden of all the responsibilities in the relationship or in the vibes of their connections. And that's kind of how they are presenting themselves, at least. They are presenting themselves as very strong. So this person that you're attracted to might have a strong physical appearance. So women included, if you're a male watching my channel, the woman you're talking about probably has a strong personality, or they have kind of like a sturdiness about their body or something like that. And if you're women watching this, it's the male that just kind of looks buff and sturdy and kind of has this kind of like solidity about them. And so I am seeing with this solidity and this ability to take on responsibilities. You feel like this person's incredibly reliable, or you feel like this person is someone who can just handle a lot. And what I'm seeing is that's true. This person does handle a lot of responsibilities. I'm also seeing that you see this person as a little wild, a little impulsive with the moon card here. This is someone who kind of fluctuates, or their moods fluctuate, right? Also, I'm seeing the lobster here, with the lobster having the exoskeleton or the shell on the outside. This person probably has a tough outer shell, right? They have wild natures like the dog and the wolf. They have animalistic natures, and they have a tough outer shell is kind of what I'm seeing with this moon card. And so those are things that you're like accurately perceiving about them, that are true about them. They are pretty wild. They do have that tough outer shell. They are very like responsible. They can take on a lot of responsibilities and handle them pretty easily with a like easy endurance, right? Because they are so strong here. This guy has like a strong, look at that like line in his back, right? So basically like, and they always choose loving options. They seem like a really good fit, right? Like I'm seeing that you guys kind of just are like, oh my gosh, this lady is perfect on paper, right? Like they're, you know, they got that kind of bad boy moon kind of lunacy kind of vibe with that strong exoskeleton, you know, they have like, they can take on all these different tasks, and they always choose the most loving option. They're always so kind to people. They're always so nice. I'm seeing that all these things are things that you see so prevalent about this person that it kind of makes you want to elevate them to a godlike position in your mind. It's like, yeah, this person is like amazing, you know? So I am seeing that this crush takes on like epic proportions. So I understand that, where you guys are coming from. I've had crushes like that before. But they didn't end well. That's why I'm probably trying to talk you guys down from at least like not putting them on a pedestal. Like obviously you can still like this person, but maybe think about like how much on a pedestal you're putting them on. And because I mean, God is a really powerful card. Like this is like the be all end all as far as like, if you're like, take the purpose of the reading, right? Like it's about a crush, right? So it's someone you're idolizing. It's someone you're attracted to. Put God in the position of how you perceive them, and also in the card that's what they're not really. And this is a crush where you're kind of seeing things that aren't really there, kind of, or you're like idolizing them so much that you think they can do no wrong. But so this is kind of one of those vibes where they could come like crashing down, or they could show some sides themselves that are a little uglier in the future, and you might be like shocked by that because you might not have been expecting it, right? Because you just kind of see them or perceive them as so amazing, right? So let's get into, to burst your guys' bubble. Just kidding. I'm not going to burst your bubble. I'm going to give you some aspects though to think about. Basically how they are that you're not seeing, right? Okay, so with the Eight of Pentacles here, this person is really routinized. They take a task or a craft, they take a structure or a task and they can build on it over and over again. This kind of goes in with their strength here, right? They have the ability to kind of do the routine day in and day out. So for example, if this is someone who goes to the gym, or this is a gym crush or something like that, this person, the reason they have the body they have is because they go in every single day, they do the same thing every single day, and they work out at the gym every single day and do that same routine, or they have this way of like working and perfecting something, right? They're constantly perfecting the things in their life. So they have this kind of like perfectionistic attitude is what I'm saying, this kind of craftsman attitude. It's interesting because it's very contradictory to their snake spirit person, where it's like they have to move on and start over again. I see that when they move, it's probably with the fives here, it's like moving a location or moving, like for example, they might break up with their partner and move to a different city and then start the same habits over again in the same city and keep working on those same skills that they developed, right? Or they might change a job every once in a while, but keep the rest of their life still intact is kind of what I'm seeing. So another thing that I'm seeing with the Page of Swords here too, something else that's coming up about them that you don't know about them, that's something about them. They're a little more introverted than they lead on. They might seem more extroverted around people or social situations, but with Page of Swords, this person is someone who likes to hold back in conversation, or their natural inclination is to hold back. This is a person who might unnaturally force themselves forward, when really in the long run and in other situations that you haven't seen them in, this person holds back. They're not that opinionated. They hold back their thoughts and feelings. They like to live in their imagination, and they like to hold back the thoughts and opinions from those around them. It's kind of like, if you look at the Page of Swords, I'm going to point it out because I pointed it out in previous videos of mine, but they have all these bubbling clouds in the background, right? Indicating their bubbling thoughts and their opinions and their ideas and all these things happening in their own mind. But because they're leaned back and they're holding the sword, they're looking towards the person and they're holding the sword away from them, right? They're kind of holding the sword back. They're holding it away. So they don't want to share their thoughts and opinions. They want to keep them to themselves. So if you're the type of person who likes to have those deep intellectual discussions where there's lots of sharing, of communication, I feel like this person would not be a good match for you, because on the deeper level, they don't like talking. They don't like sharing what they're thinking. They don't like sharing what's going on in their head. They really just like thinking about things, and that's it. They don't really like the communication part of it. They just like living in their heads is kind of the vibe that I'm getting. One thing that's interesting about the card coming out, if you guys were to be in a relationship with this person, right? And it's interesting with have faith, trust your faith in this situation. This person, first I'll go over the Imagine card. For the Imagine card, this person, if you were in a relationship with them, right, I feel like on one hand, you would be supporting their imagination. It's kind of the vibe that I'm getting. I feel like this person is so in their head and they're so love thinking their thoughts that they're kind of always looking for someone outside them to stimulate their imagination, right? So no matter who they're with or who they're with, like they secretly want their imagination stimulated. This can be tricky because if they don't find that someone is exciting to them or unconventional to them, or someone who has like a more mystical, like, how do I put this? They need someone who has more of a like outwardly fantastical personality, or someone who really like shares a lot of stories or can awaken their imagination. They need someone who can kind of like stimulate their imaginative sense, basically. They're kind of looking for someone who's more of like a storyteller, or someone who can take them on adventures that they can like ponder and imagine in their head and then go on these adventures, is kind of the vibe that I'm getting. So with Imagine here, I do see that like there's two aspects here. There's a woman here. I don't know if you can see it in the card. There's a woman and she's pulling a string on this moon and she's trying to pull this moon down, right? I see on one hand that you guys are kind of like the moon in this situation, and they're constantly tugging on your intuition to get you to say things or share things or something like that. So I feel like this person, although it might be fun at first to like share stories with them, I feel like they're constantly wanting more stimulation for their imagination. They're kind of constantly wanting to stimulate their imagination, and they don't want to share anything back. That's the only thing. They kind of want to just keep the thoughts to themselves. And so one thing that I'm seeing, that if you guys are watching this and you are the types of people who love sharing stories, but you don't necessarily want anyone to stimulate your imagination, but you love stimulating other people's imaginations, this is definitely the person for you. You're on the right path. This is the right person. But I am seeing for most of you with this Imagine card, it might feel like a little bit of a burden to constantly be trying to have to stimulate their imagination, is kind of the vibe that I'm getting. And specifically also, if you're more of a realistic person watching this, pick a card, which is interesting because I feel like most of you aren't, because just the way you're idealizing this person, it seems a little unrealistic, the idealization. And the only reason I say that is because I've been there before. Like I've had fantasies about people that were just like too intense for my own good, and I had to like back off of my own thoughts about someone, if that makes sense. And so it's kind of like a hard lesson I had to learn, but I am just trying to tell you like what this person would be like in a connection too. So anyway, with have faith, trust your faith in this situation, this person really trusts others like fully. Like if someone wants to do something, I feel like this person has a lot of trust in that person to go and do that thing. It's like, how do I put this? Like if you were to go off and do something in your environment, say you wanted to go to a party or something, this person would have faith in you that you would do the right things, you would not cheat on them, you would be home at the appropriate time, you would do all these things. They would just expect you to do all of these things the right way, is kind of how I'm seeing. They kind of expect the best out of their relationships, basically. It's interesting because with the snake spirit time to heal, I do see that if they don't get that treatment of the best in their relationships, like if someone's not someone's taking advantage of them, for example, they're out of there. They're like instantly, like they shed their skin, they're moving on from that relationship, you know, because they want to perfect things. And so they're looking for that deep sense of perfection, even in their relationships. So with have faith, they do put that faith on their person. They say like, you know, they kind of have this idea of like their love is kind of this way of like trusting, basically like fully trusting the other one to not make a mistake or mess up. But as soon as that person messes up, this person is like out of there. That's kind of what I'm seeing. Once again, I am seeing this woman, and she's like, this woman is like holding on by a string to this moon, and this woman has like these strings attached to these butterflies, right? So I am seeing there is this aspect of like having to lift this person up, or you being lifted up by this person. There is this kind of element in this relationship where you feel like you want them to help lift you up, or you want to help lift them up. And so keep that in mind, that those are kind of unconscious expectations that the other one wants of the other one, if that makes sense. Like this person might want you to help lift them up or help you stimulate their imagination. And then on the other hand, with you looking at them as like a god, your unconscious expectation is like, I want you to lift me up. You know, that's kind of the vibe that I'm seeing too. You know, I feel like you see this person is so reliable, you're kind of like wanting to rely on them too, if that makes sense. And I feel bad for saying you guys were unrealistic, because that's kind of like, that can be a mean thing to say, but I do mean it from like the deepest place in my heart of compassion for you guys, because I've been there, you know, like I've been there in that specific moment in time. And so I know what it's like to kind of like crush on someone so hard that you like idolize them to that point, you know? So, just try to hold back on those feelings if possible. I mean, you can still try to pursue this person, but try to see them as a human, you know, like we're all humans first and foremost, you know, no person on this planet is a god, you know? So keep that in mind. Yeah, with that said, I'm going to end the reading there. I really enjoyed reading for you guys. It was a pleasure. If you like this reading, please like or comment below. If you really enjoy this reading, feel free to subscribe to my channel. I post pick a cards like this once every 1 to 2 weeks. I didn't say that for the rest of the groups, but I'm just telling you guys my schedule right now if you want to watch more. And with that said, that was the last reading for today. I will see you guys in the next pick a card. Thank you for letting me read for you. It was honestly a pleasure. I will see you in the next pick a card. Bye.